So now I'm going to get into explaining kettlebell rows. So first, let's just get into a kettlebell row. Working our lats, right? We're pulling load into the spine. With a kettlebell, it's going to be a bent over position because we're overcoming gravity. So hinge from the hips, knees are soft. They're going to grab the load, thumb to the rib cage. What I always recommend is that with the free hand, let's not have it here on the waist. On one side, I have this load and there's a lot of tension. I'm crushing it with this grip. You kind of want to, for your nervous system, the way the body works, create tension on both sides. So I always recommend make a fist with that free hand. It's the kind of way our brains are hardwired. Now, with your row, there's ways you can progress and regress this without changing the load. And that's what I want to spend some time on. I typically start people, the easiest position is a stagger. And they're going to pull to the open side, meaning the leg that's back. So in this, my left leg is back, I'm going to pull to my left side. And for most people, for a beginner, that's going to feel actually probably the most common place because it's kind of based upon our gait and how we walk. So they'll feel really normal doing that. So I would start somebody with that. Now a good progression is from there, then go into the square stance. The reason why the square stance is a little more challenging, it's anti-rotation, right? Because here's the deal. 36 pounds I have in here, right? My body naturally, if I relax, wants to do this. So just by holding that position, before I even pull the load, you have a bigger core demand. So again, square stance is going to be a little bit more challenging as far as the core, not so much on the pulling component. And then the next progression would be narrow the stance. So what does that do? Most people, if you go up to somebody and say, give me a strong base, they're naturally inclined. They're going to go wide. They feel a real big base, right? So what is it? If I narrow my base, right, less contact with the ground, I'm going to feel a little more unstable. So now if they go here, definitely a lot more challenging going with here, right? So just simple progressions without even changing load. Now, the last that I would say that if I really want to progress somebody without increasing weight, I would then go into a single leg stance, right? And for this, I'm just going to kind of turn sideways. So I would always recommend going contralateral. So what is that? Contra is just from Latin prefix against or opposite. So what that means is if I'm pulling with my left, I'm standing on my right leg. Now for a lot of people, right, and I'll do my best to demonstrate here for you guys, right, I'm not making it so much a deadlift. Here's my row. And if you can see, a lot of stabilizing going on. This leg's working really hard. If you see someone and they're just struggling with the balance, have them bring the leg down. I don't want to make a strength exercise a balance exercise, right? So always, again, think about what the objective, what the goal is. We're making this a strength exercise. If they're strong enough, where they can have pelvic stability, and you're able to get a good row in, go with it. But don't sacrifice someone where you're seeing them and they can't stand on one leg. You know what? They're not ready for a single leg movement. Go with one of the other states. Go with a narrow stance. That's challenging enough. You know, go with that. Don't give them that option. It's not a good fit for them. So that's kettlebell rows, but I wanted to talk about, again, how you can progress it and regress it by just changing the stance.